Another great show for you today. I want to thank everybody on Spotify, Apple, Megaphone. Thanks for joining us. I cannot believe the support we're getting, the amount of views we're getting. Everything just blows my mind every single day, and I'm super happy. And the new members that just signed up the last couple of days, oh my gosh, that is so fun and so exciting when we get a new member signs up to the website and they leave their phone number and I get to call them. Oh, I just enjoy that so much. I love talking fishing, and I love it when you guys leave your number and I get to call you. It's so cool. And thank you very, very much, all the new members, all the old members, everybody that's involved in my website, Your Saltwater Guide. I want to thank each and every one of you. It's just overwhelmingly amazing to me, all the people that are members of our website. It just blows me away. I remember 5 years ago when Kelly Girl and I started to put the website together, and we thought it would be so cool if maybe like we could get 100 people that would actually want to know what we know about fishing in Southern California or fishing in Mexico. And we thought, how wild would that be to actually have 100 or so people? Well, gang, I just want you to know we have over 4,000 people on the website now, yoursaltwaterguide.com. And people are jumping on there a lot right now because of the fact that I made that app, and it makes it so much easier for you to access all the information. That's the only thing I can think of, because the amount of people that are signing up every single day is overwhelming to me. And what I want to promise you all, and we got plenty of people on here that are members that'll vouch for this, but you sign up to my website. If you leave me your phone number, I will call you. But if you don't leave your phone number, there's absolutely no way I can get a hold of you and give you a tour of how the website works. I want you to understand, gang, there's never been a website like this. You can't go, well, I'm just going to go Google how to use it, or I'm going to go on YouTube and watch a video on how to use it. There isn't anything out there like that. There's no way to learn how to use it. You got to give me your phone number and you got to let me call you so that we can go over it together, so that you can actually utilize the website and see all the cool things that are available for you on the website. And today is Text the Show Wednesday. And on Wednesdays, I always answer all the questions that come in from Text the Show Wednesday. And I already have a couple of questions that have come through from a couple of the members, and I really appreciate it. Dave Burris, I love you, buddy. Don't send me 10,000 messages today. I'm trying to answer these questions for everybody. I'll answer your questions, but just understand I'm trying to answer all these questions for everybody. I love you very much. Let's see if we can get some good questions from some of the members. Dave Burris, you already know exactly how we fish and how we do it. So I appreciate everything you do for me, buddy, and I appreciate all the support. And I know that you have a ton of answers for these questions from these people. So Dave Burris makes the best custom-made fishing rods you can possibly possess, gang. DB Custom Rods is an unbelievable source for fishing, and he makes great fishing poles for whatever you want to fish for, gang. He has the rods. He's made Kelly and I some unbelievable works of art, gang. And I love you, Dave, and I'm very happy that you're here all the time. Gang, thanks, Todd Wallace. I am blown away by I get somewhere between 8 to 10 million views a week on Facebook. I get somewhere between 500 and 1 million views a week on Instagram. On TikTok, we have 90,000 followers. We get about 1 million to 2 million views a week on TikTok. YouTube, gang, I don't know what happened yesterday, but the algorithm kind of shut us off. I don't know why. I have 50,000 followers over there, and for some reason, the algorithm decided to not push my videos in front of everybody. We were getting millions of views a month over there, and yesterday we got like 300 views, and I don't understand it. It's just their algorithm. So if everybody on here that's watching today can go to YouTube for just a second and go over there and just click on some of my videos, and I would appreciate that. I get plenty of views, don't get me wrong. I just don't understand this algorithm over on YouTube and what happened and why they decided to not allow our videos to be seen by anybody. It's really strange to me. I don't understand it, but we're going to do our best to keep. Well, I'm not going to stop doing what I do. I put out 3 videos every single day, and I do this podcast every day. I have up on the screen on Facebook and Insta right now to check out my website. I have my QR code up there. Go check it out. Also, gang, you can text me if you want access to my website. You don't want to talk to me, you don't have any questions, text message me your email. I'll give you a free look at the website. It doesn't get any easier than that. A free look at the website. It would be unbelievable to check it out for free. I know that. And everyone always gets scared when they go, oh, I gotta give them my credit card. I'm out. I'm not giving him my credit card. I don't want your credit card, gang. I want you to call me or text me, and I want to get you in there and get you a clean, free look at my website. Check it out. Make your own decision. After you take a good look, a good, clean look at the website, check it out. I'll call you up. I'll give you a tour. You check it all out. And then if you go, man, I'm so sick and tired of sucking at fishing. I want to be successful when I go out. You get great information from me, from my buddy Dave Burris, from my buddy Justin, Sonny, all the people that are involved in the website, Dan and Kim, Mike Lewis, Augie, Jack. I could go on and on and on. We have so many members that are contributing all the time to our website and making sure that you're successful when you go out fishing on your private boat. I can't do any of this without all the support of my friends like Dave Burris and Jack and Mike and everybody that is constantly right there to be there as support, to answer the questions for you and answer the comments and always being there for you. So just check out our website. But today is Text the Show Wednesday. I try to answer everybody's question and get to all the questions that I could possibly get to. So where our first question is coming from my good buddy Mike Lewis, who is constantly always 58 weeks or 59 weeks in a row now giving me stars on every live podcast. That's a big deal to me. It's a huge show of support. Over on TikTok, you guys can leave gifts to me. You can leave tips to me on Instagram and YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel and push the like button. Hopefully that affects their algorithm and lets them know that people actually want to watch what we're doing. But everything matters. So I need all of your help. I need everybody to help me as much as they possibly can. Okay. And for that, I will constantly always be here giving you the really best information I possibly can give you. So Mike Lewis's question is, Dave, you always talk about staying away, do not fish for boats, staying away from all the boats. And he wants to know, what do I do when I get to an area first and we're catching fish and then all the other boats show up and start bouncing off the sides of us and they watch us and they follow us around all day? That's what's going to happen, gang. If you're a member of our website, that's what happens, because now you have a plan and you have a clue and you're fishing proper. And that's another thing, Mike, that's perfect to bring up. And I thank you so much for this question, is when you become a member of my website, and you all will, so I don't know what you're waiting for. Maybe you just want to suck a few more times at fishing and spend a whole bunch of money on fuel. But eventually you'll all be a part of, and that's okay. I'm in no hurry and I'm not going anywhere. You just keep sucking until you're ready to quit sucking. That's okay. I'm just being honest. But here's the deal. When you're a member of the website, it's crucial to look at the how-to videos. It's crucial to pay attention to the how-to videos. It's crucial to fish the way I tell you to fish. Not that I'm the greatest fisherman in the world, but I'm giving you spots that I've gone to, my buddy Dave Burris has gone to. For as long as we've been alive, Dave and I fished together forever and ever and ever. And I'm telling you, these spots need to be fished the way I tell you to. They cannot be fished the way your sister's aunt's plumber told you to go fish these spots tomorrow. They have to be executed the way I'm telling you. If you don't want to fish them the way I tell you to, then don't go to those spots. And don't try to catch fish on those spots the way I try to teach you how to fish there, because it's not going to work. But here's the rub, here's the problem, is when you do execute the way I tell you to, and you do go to the spots and you do anchor on them and you do fish the way I tell you to fish, you're going to be successful. Then the other boats that are out there that don't have a plan and don't have a clue, they are going to follow you. Because here's what's happened. Before you became a member, remember, and I talked about this, then when you get out there on your private boat, the first thing you do is stand up on your chair and look around and try to figure out where all the boats are. And your friends, when they come on your boat, they're telling you, hey, Mike, look at all those boats over there. Look at all those boats over there. We need to go over there. We need to fish right over there where all those boats are. And then you got to go, hey, no, we're not going over there because we have a plan. We're going to go execute our plan. We're going to go fish the way Dave's telling us to fish. And it's super important to stay with the plan and not fish for boats. But remember, not everybody's a part of my website. Not everybody understands not to fish for boats. You do have the booger eaters that refuse to spend the $9 to become a member of the website, and they're going to go out on their boat and they're going to fish for boats all day. Know that. And you're catching fish, Mike Lewis, on your boat. These people are going to fish for you all day. They're going to go everywhere you go. They're going to follow you because they don't have a plan. They don't have a clue. The number one thing I always do when the other boats show up is I make sure to make as much noise as I possibly can. I want everybody on that boat that pulled up to watch us. I want them to have a show. I know it's hard to believe. You've been to my seminars for me to actually get out in front of people and put on a show. I know. But just think about it. When they come on their private boat to fish next to you, to watch you catch fish, it's time to put on the show, gang. Time to be loud. Time to be obnoxious. Time to hold up every fish you catch. Look at another nice one. Look at this sea bass. Oh my gosh, how cool. Wouldn't it be bitching to be on our boat fishing with us? And I make it a game to where they get so flippin' embarrassed that they end up leaving, because they're not going to, we already know, because we're members of my website, we already know that these spots, you have to anchor on them, and it's the fish's house. And so the chance of those fish at their house spreading out to the boats fishing around you is not very good. Those of you that did it for many years and now you're part of the website, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've pulled up to other boats and watched them catch fish for years, and it sucks. But we didn't have a plan and we didn't know what else to do, Dave, because it's a giant lake and we don't know. We don't know all the spots and we don't know where to go. So we had to do something. So we follow boats around and fish for boats all day. Just understand, Mike Lewis, from today forward, when you get to a spot and you're catching fish, keep enjoying catching those fish. Keep having fun. Keep enjoying it. People are going to poach your spots. They do it all the flipping time to me. They do it all the time to all our members. So just understand, it's not a negative when they come to you. It's a positive. It's got to make you feel good inside. The people that are on your boat with you, they got to go, oh my gosh, Mike actually had a plan, or Dave Burris actually have a plan. We have a plan when we go out because we're members of the website. So hopefully that answered your question. Hopefully that helps you in some type of way to understand that it's not a bad thing, but you're not following them. They're following you. The thing I preach is don't fish for boats. But once you get involved in the act of fishing and the boats show up, there's really nothing you can do about it except put on one of the most spectacular shows you possibly can put on. Now, those of you that are listening on Spotify and Apple and Megaphone, the best thing for you to do is text your questions on Tuesday, and then I'll read them on the air for you on Wednesday, and I'll mention who you are, and we'll talk about it. Okay? But you got to text your questions to me because we do not go live on those three platforms. We post the show an hour afterwards because they don't allow us to go live there. That's the only reason why. If you want to catch us live, And we do this show live Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. You can always watch us on YouTube, or you can always watch us on Facebook or on TikTok. We're live on all three of those platforms every single day at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And everybody that saw the Tito Ortiz interview, thank you so much. That was an incredible interview I got to do with Tito on Friday, and we had a really good time. And most people are blown away at who he really is, because you had a preconceived notion of who he was. But then when you get to find out what he does and how he gives back to community, that was incredible. And if you haven't seen that podcast that I put out on Friday, go look at it. It's available on all social media platforms. You can go see the interview with Tito Ortiz. It was pretty spectacular. Okay, John Stanley. No. When I met Elliot, and Elliot is my web manager, social media manager, website manager. He is the guru of social media. If you want to be found, if you want to be exposed, you want Elliot working for you. When I found Elliot, I told him what I did, and he knew how to spell fish, but he didn't know anything about fish. Now I guarantee he can get on a boat and go out and catch fish. He's edited all 3,000 of our videos on social media. He's edited all 580 of our videos on our website. So yes, Elliot's very, very good at fishing, and he's never even fished, but I'll guarantee you he'll outfish most of you because of the fact that he's watched every video, and he's not going to conduct himself in a booger eater fashion when he gets on the boat to go fishing. So John was asking, what's the effect does the cold winter have on the kelp? Will it produce more resulting in more patties? Here's the thing, John. Out at the Channel Islands, there's been a giant bloom of kelp. So yes, the cold water made the kelp grow better, but also with all that warm water, we had another type of seaweed that grew on the bottom that covered up most of the kelp beds. And the kelp's having a real hard time trying to get through that. And then in all the MLP areas, here's the number one thing they didn't play into effect because, and Wayne Cattell talked about it perfect. Wayne Kodak talked about it perfect on our podcast with Wayne from CCA. They did not think this all. I know it's hard to believe the government would do anything without thinking it all the way through, but they didn't think this all the way through when they put the closures into effect. What's the number one thing that affects the kelp beds? The sea urchin. And the sea urchins were being harvested for all the sushi bars all over the world. Our sea urchins are the best sea urchins in the world. And they were being harvested for uni all over the world. Every sushi bar, high-end sushi bar, serves uni with a lot of their food. Now you have nobody harvesting the sea urchins. Therefore, the sea urchins eat the kelp hold fast. It's a giant devastation to the kelp forest. It was going really, really good until they put the MLPs into effect, and now no one can go in there and harvest. So now they're thinking, well, we need to get someone to go in there and harvest those, but they can't take them. The proposal that Wayne told me they said was, we need people to go in there and just kill the sea urchin. Excuse me? So they're telling us that you and I can't have them. We can't eat them, but they want divers to go in there and just kill them so that the kelp can grow back. Are you out of your ever? This is so ridiculous. This whole MLP thing, the whole closures of the ocean, it has a very, very, very adverse effect on everything. When you go in there and start messing with Mother Nature, it's never, ever a good thing. It's not a good thing to mess with Mother Nature, gang, and it's not a good thing to put closures into effect when you haven't thought them all the way through and you don't really know what you're doing. And that's the thing about these closures, gang, is they didn't really think it through. So therefore, the kelp isn't growing back the way it should be with a cold water year because of the sea urchins. But yeah, the kelp at some of the Channel Islands where they're still allowed to harvest the sea urchin, they're growing very, very well. And yes, we're going to see a lot more kelp patties. But what is going to affect that is this big south swell. And we already have the effects of the big south swell down here in Cabo. We have waves, like I talked about on the podcast yesterday. We have waves down here that Kelly and I haven't seen in 4 years. Big waves in May. Big south swell in May, and that's pushing warm water up. And that big south swell has a tendency to rip the kelp beds apart when it gets up there. So I think in July and August, you're going to see a lot of big south push. I think you're going to see an El Nino effect coming into Southern California. You're going to see a lot more kelp to fish, a lot more kelp patty fishing. And if you follow our game plans coming up this weekend, we're going to be talking a lot about the kelp patty fishing that's going on in Southern California right now. And it's pretty amazing the amount of yellowtail on the kelps with this cold water. But if you think back, and Dave Burris and I were talking about this a few months ago, if you didn't have live squid and you went out kelp patty fishing back when him and I were kids, you probably didn't catch any yellowtail because you had to have live squid to get the yellowtail to bite on the kelp patties. So that being said, man, I think with all the squid that we have around here right now, I think it's going to be super important to get that squid when you go offshore fishing. And now there's a rumor that there's a squid boat selling squid at the Channel Islands, Mike Lewis. That's a big change. I saw it on Freeman Adventures a couple days ago. We've never seen a guy selling squid at the Channel Islands. So if that's the case, that would make it real fun for this coming season. If we have squid to buy at the island and we don't have to stay up all night, the easiest way to catch squid, like I always say, is with a $100 bill. It seems to work flawless every time. You don't have to stare at underneath the lights all night, do all that stuff. So that is what I would be very happy about, is that squid. But then going offshore and fishing kelp patties, and I think you guys are going to have that kelp patty yellowtail up at the Channel Islands this year. I think we're going to start to see a big influx of it here in the next couple of weeks in Southern California. Oh, you saw them at Chinese Harbor. Yeah, isn't that wild? Why didn't anybody think of that before, Mike Lewis? That's crazy. Gang, don't forget today's Text the Show Wednesday. You can text the show. I'll do my very best to answer your questions as fast as I possibly can. And then at the end of this, we'll text one lucky person and tell them that they want a t-shirt. I let Kelly pick the person, and then after the show, she texts you, and then she gets your address, and she sends you a shirt. We're going to send another lucky person a shirt. All right. So here, let's see, what do we got here? We got another question here. We got a question from Rick, the diver man. He always leaves great reports. You see that big halibut he got on our fish reports the other day on the community? Look at that big halibut he speared up there in Santa Monica Bay. Captain Dave, Rick from Orange, can you tell me what month of the year and what conditions are optimal for finding and catching yellowtail in Southern California? Right now, Rick, right now. There's a lot of yellowtail at Catalina. They've been catching a handful up at the Channel Islands. I think that most of that problem up there has been the weather. As soon as there has some consistent weather, I think you're going to start to see a lot more yellowtail up there. They're not a warm water fish. That's the big fantasy about yellowtail. We get a good bite on them down here in Cabo when the water gets cold. When it gets down into the 67, 68 degree, we start to catch a lot of yellows yo-yoing up in the Sea of Cortez, Loreto, and stuff like that. They catch that yellowtail when that water's 62, 64. And then that's perfect water for Southern California. The average water temperature before 2015 was about 67 to 69 degree water. And when the water would get into that 71, 72, we wouldn't catch a lot of yellowtail, but then that Dorado and that yellowfin would show up. So right now is a good time for yellowtail. Right now, Rick, you're going to start to see that yellowtail up in the Santa Monica Bay over at Rocky Point and at Point Doom at those kelps there. You guys be hunting, swimming around without your tanks on or with your tanks on. Yellowtail are a very curious fish. They'll come to the bubbles. They're not like a white sea bass. They'll come to the bubbles. And yeah, look at that. Mike Lewis said Saturday a boat had a 50-pound yellowtail he caught at Santa Cruz Island. Catalina is going to be going off. It's going to be getting really good. There's already really good sign of yellowtail at Catalina. And then, Rick, a lot of that yellowtail that's really fun to shoot to with the spear gun. Going to be kelp patty yellowtail. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really good fishing for yellowtail at Catalina, Rocky Point, Point Doom, up and down the coast, La Jolla, Point Loma, all those standard stock spots. I think you're going to see some phenomenal yellowtail fishing this year with the cold water and the amount of bait that's on the inside. There's not a lot of bait on the outside. The guys are complaining not seeing a lot of bait on the outside, but they're seeing a lot of bait on the inside, a lot of squid. A lot of squid. Yellowtail love that squid. So I think that is going to be a good thing for the yellowtail fishing. So that's what I think, Rick, from now until that water gets hot, which it will get hot. It's going to get hot in July. You guys are going to see water temperatures. If everything stays like it is right now, down here in Cabo, middle of May, we got 82-degree water. Down in Costa Rica, my good buddy Pete Grossbeck was telling me that there were spots where the water was already 90 degrees, which is insane in May. See, and all that water right now is pushing up towards you guys with these big south swells we're having. So all kinds of stuff's going to happen. I think it's going to be insane. I'm so glad that those of you that are a part of my website, you're set up for a perfectly good year. Those of you that aren't, you're going to have a blast following boats around this year because you're going to get to watch a lot of boats catch a lot of really cool fish. So those of you that aren't members of the website, you are going to have the time of your life watching other boats catch fish this year. It's going to be really, really fun, especially if you're into that kind of thing, like watching. Like, you guys are going to have a ball because you're going to see people catching fish like you've never seen before. So just get ready, get your video cameras and go out there and film all these other boats catching fish. And then when you're tired of all that, you want to start being the person that people are filming, all you got to do is sign up to my website and you'll be successful. I'm just telling you, there's plenty of people that are telling you every single day. I'm not making this up, gang. This is true, honest to God stuff. So check out my website. Here we go. We got another question from Alfie. When I make saltwater guide flags for us to fly on our boats? I would buy one for sure. That's a great idea. I think we'll put that together. I'll talk to Lawrence Quigley over there at Fishworks, and we'll see if we can't do that. Put some flags together, and you guys can start flying the flags around. That would be really cool. That would be a great look for the industry. That'd be a great look for all the haters of Captain Dave Hansen. Dave Burris, could you imagine? Could you imagine a couple of those sport boats that the captains just hate me pulling up to the spot and seeing your saltwater guide flag flying off of your boat? That's a great idea. I'm doing that for sure, Alfie. That is what we're doing for sure. So, gang, we got no questions coming in. Nobody wants to win a free shirt today, gang. You can send me your questions. My phone number, 949-374-0786. I will answer your questions. I promise you, you got a question. I know it. Don't be afraid. We don't allow booger eaters to make negative comments here. Something I want to tell, gang, you want to see something absolutely incredible. You want some humor. You don't even have to sign up for Facebook. You can just go look. But if you want to go see some unbelievable humor, thank you, Dave Burris. It would be incredible, right? Oh my gosh. I'm going to do it for sure now. And you know what we should do, Dave? We should also start a line of custom built rods by Dave Burris with Your Saltwater Guide logo. I know a lot of guys would order them. Dave Burris, he's got some time on his hands up there, and he could start. We could do that. We could do something like that. I think that would be fun. So if any of you are interested in that, leave us a message. Leave Dave or I a message. We'll see if we can work on that. Black and gold, the colors of my website. Black and gold. That's a bitchin' looking rod. He can put them together, put the logo on them. That would be spectacular. Oh, John Stanley, thank you. John says he flies his. John made some last year. And again, Alfie, he flies his, and boats come from all around to fish next to him because they know that he's catching fish. He's a member of the website. So they already know when they see the flag, shit, this guy's on to something here. Alfie, this is going to be great. We're doing this. I'm calling Lawrence right when we're done, and we're going to figure out this flag thing. And I think what I'll do is all the members that want them, I'll put a post out on the website, and all the members that want them, I'll buy you guys as your flags. I'll buy the flags. I'll send them out to all of you that want them. I think this is going to be incredible. Alfie, thank you. That's so funny. I'm so excited. I think that was going to be great. We're doing it for sure. We're absolutely doing it. Thanks, Mike, Lewis, Justin, John, Dan, Jason, everybody. That is incredible. This is going to be so fun. I am definitely doing this. Gang, send me some questions. Come on, I want to talk to people. Send me your questions. Don't be scared. Nothing bad's going to happen if I... That's the other thing, gang. Can I sell phone numbers? There must be a place to sell them because so many people won't leave their phone number. It just blows my mind. All right. Here we go. We got a question from Jeff. Digging your videos. Hey, it only took me 13 years to figure out I have 50 feet of chain, not 40 or 60. Laid it out on the dock. Yeah, that's one of my videos. That is one of my videos. Okay, so here's the deal. He's asking, after you lay your chain out. Okay, when you all right, we got to give you a little bit of information so you know what this question's about. So when you are fishing and you're anchoring on spots, when you drop your anchor, and you can't go by the book, 3-to-1, 15-to-1, 20-to-1, it doesn't work. You got to do it like this, and this works flawless. And I've dropped and pulled the anchor 9 million times. If you ever been on a sport boat, you go up to the bow, there's a giant anchor on there. Well, that's how I learned how to fish. That's how I learned how to anchor, and it works flawless. Listen, here's the deal. When you're dropping your anchor, you want the length of your boat in chain. Now, if you have a little bit more than the length of your boat, that's fine. If you have less, that's not going to work. You have to have the length of your boat in chain. So Jeff's talking about he has 50 feet of chain. That's great. Your boat's probably not 50, but it's close. That's going to work just fine as long as you don't have less than the length of your boat. But when you drop your anchor, let's say I'm going to fish 50 feet of water. I'm going to drop the anchor and the chain out, and I'm not going to count that. I'm going to count the rope. So, or the anchor line for those experts. Oh, there's no rope on a boat. There's no rope on a boat. Oh, no, they love to pretend like they know what I'm talking about. Oh, Captain Dave doesn't know what he's talking about. Go read the comments on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. It's the funniest damn thing you've ever seen. Oh, there's no rope on a boat, it's lines. Shut up. I'm talking to everybody. You just got to relax. Just like when I say the right side of the boat or the left side. When we're doing stuff, I don't have time to explain to you why they call it starboard or port or bow or stern. I'm going to tell you, go to the front of the boat, go to the back of the boat, go to the left-hand side, the right-hand side. We don't have time to try to teach you nautical terms when we're out there trying to catch stuff. So calm flipping down, everybody. Believe me, I forgot more about this whole thing than most of you will ever even know. So when you're trying to correct me because I used rope instead of line, for God's sakes, man, I'm talking to everybody. And the world I come from, when you say lines, we're going over to get some poop from one of my buddies, and we're going to stay up all night. That's what lines were. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. But when you drop your anchor, 50 feet of water, you're going to let out 50 feet of rope. Line. You're going to put out the amount of line that it is deep. Now, if there's some wind, we're going to put out a little more line or rope, if you will. We're going to put out a little bit more, but we don't count the chain. We do not count the chain. That's not counted in this scenario. If you're dropping, you got 50 feet of chain, great. You want it to lay flat on the bottom. That's what makes the anchor hold. The chain is what digs the anchor into the bottom. So when the boat starts to get tight on the line or the rope, that anchor will start to dig into the bottom, if you will. It'll start to dig in. This is all the chain. This is my anchor. It'll start to dig into the bottom, and then the chain will lift up a little bit, It's all helping to hold the boat when you're anchored. And it's super important to make sure that you stay on the spot when you're anchored. That's why you want to make sure that you have at least the length of your boat in chain, but you got to have line. You got to have rope. You have to. It's not going to work out if you're straight chain. It doesn't work out. It's never good if it's straight chain. It's not a good thing. You've got to have some rope or line or whatever the hell you want to call it. You do not want to have straight. You do not want it to be straight chain. That's not good for the boat. It's not good for anything. You've got to have some line. You got to. It's super important. Flexibility on the bow when you're in a big swell and the boat's bouncing up and down. If it's straight chain, you're just tearing the heck out of your boat. It's not a good thing. It's not a fun thing. You're tearing the heck out of your boat. And if you care about your boat at all, you don't want straight chain. You want that rope or line to be like a shock absorber on the swells. Also, if you're fishing for yellowtail or sea bass at the island and you have straight chain, every time the boat bounces up and down, that chain makes a god-awful noise. That has a massive effect on the fish coming around your boat. That has a massive, massive effect. So you don't want straight chain if you're fishing. You don't want straight chain if we're anchored up on a spot. Think about this. I'm sorry, I just lost my feed over on TikTok. We only had like 800 people watching live over there. So sorry about that. But think about this. When you're fishing, you want to make at least amount of gnarly noise as you can. You don't want that chain, bam, bam. Plus, it's horrible for the boat. Okay? So those things matter. Those things absolutely matter. They matter more than you can even imagine. You want to make sure that whatever depth, that's how much rope you let out. Line, okay? Hopefully I answered that question. I'm sorry. I get a little excited. I go off on things and I don't mean to. Okay. Mike Lewis, we know how to find spots, but what is the best way to find yellowtail? Is it always kelp patties? No. It's the conditions. When you get to those spots, Mike, and there's downhill current or uphill current, current is super important. And a lot of the spots, that yellowtail will bite on the spots, so you're anchored up on it. If you're drifting on these spots, there's a pretty good chance. I know your sister's brother's aunt's cousin was drifting and they threw a rubber lure out and they caught one once. I don't go out there for one. I go out there for every one of them. I want them all. And we anchor up on the spot and we start to chum and we start to present our bait proper and we fly line our sardines or our mackerel, or we fish our squid with a small sliding sinker or a small lead head. But those yellowtail are super opportunistic feeders. So when you have that, when I talk about the chum bucket, Mike, and you put the chum bucket out behind the boat, all this stuff matters. So all that activity behind your boat, all those things that are going on behind your boat, those are going to bring the yellowtail to your boat. They're going to come to see what's going on. They're very curious fish, like we talked about when I was talking to Rick earlier. So you got all that activity going on behind your boat. They're going to swim up behind your boat and they're going to go, oh, there's something's going on back here. And then they look at your bait and they swim over there and they eat your bait. So it's all funny. It all works and it all matters. So yes, you'll catch a lot of them on a kelp patty, but you'll also catch them when you're off at one of the islands or on the coast fishing the spots. If you present your bait proper, if you anchor on the spot proper, if you chum proper, and if you fish proper, you're going to catch proper. But everything matters, like we talk about all the time. And I've had this conversation with probably 8 or 9 of the new members in the last 2 days. They're like, every single person that signs up for the website, the very first thing they want is access to the spots. And they're worthless if you don't know how to fish them. I know how to fish. Okay. But maybe there might just be a little bit more to it than what you thought because you went out on a sport boat, but now you're on your own private boat. Everything's different, but everything matters. Okay? So there you go. I'm I could talk about that yellowtail thing forever, but okay. Please explain the knuckleheads that grab any sardine half alive with red spots and can barely swim and get bit while I spend minutes. Hey, Brian, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. One thing I can promise you is I'm never throwing out a bait that isn't the hottest bait in the bait tank. I'm never throwing out a bait with red marks on it. It looks like it's swimming around like a booger eating mongoloid. I'm never throwing a bait out like that. I'm always going to spend my time looking for the very best Michael Phelps type of sardine. I'm always going to do that because I'll tell you what, that one guy caught that one fish using that dead bait because his sister's brother's aunt's cousin told him to. That's fine. But like I always say, I go out there for every fish. So I'm going to take my time at the bait tank and I'm going to do the very best I can to get the hottest bait I possibly can if I'm fishing sardines, anchovies, or mackerel. And if I'm fishing squid, I'm going to get that angriest squid I can get, the reddest one, the most pissed off squid I can get because he's going to jump in the water and go find a fish for me. So that's why. Hey, Dave, why are they saying this year is potentially going to bring albacore to SoCal, but also it's going to be El Nino? Albacore likes colder water, right? Thank you. Okay. To be perfectly honest with you, since the albacore disappeared, people have been talking this could be the year of the albacore ever since the year they disappeared. So if we all keep saying it, eventually one of us are going to be right. If we all say it, we'll all be right. But you're absolutely correct. The chances of albacore coming, if this is an El Nino, like it looks like all the maps and all the scenarios say, it could be an albacore year. We could start catching some albacore in the middle of July, and then it could turn real fast. And that albacore could end up like it did one year. It ended up outside the Cortez when the hot water came in. And then when the cold water came back in November, November, December, that cold water trickled back in and we saw the biggest albacore we'd ever seen before. We saw 60 and 70 pound albacore in the channel between Catalina and the beach. And the average fish, they would only bite light line and we would be fighting them for hours and hours on the light line. And you would have a boat with 50 or 60 people on it. You go out there and hook an albacore and everybody on the boat would watch the one guy catch it for hours and hours and hours. But when we say El Nino, it's going to be on the inshore part of it. And the offshore part of it could still be holding albacore. We've seen it many, many times. I've caught, oh my gosh, in the 80s, pull up to a kelp patty, catch a handful of bluefin, handful of dorado, couple yellowfin, and all the albacore you could want. That's what it could be like. It could be something like that. We've seen it many, many times. We've seen it way more than we didn't see it. And so all those things could happen. It could be the year of the albacore, but we'll find out. You never know. And why do sailboats like to drive right off of the side of the boat? Well, we talked about this yesterday. And I believe in my heart that the people that are on the sailboats, they are doing the very best they can, and they just want you to see how beautiful their sailboat is. And when you're out sailing, it's so flippin' boring. If you've ever been out sailing on a sail, it is the most boringest thing you could possibly do. And so they pick targets out there on the water. So let's say you and 15 of your booger eating buddies are on a sailboat and you're bored at stiff. You're out there saying, oh, look at me, I'm sailing. And you don't know what to do. You start to pick targets to head for, things that make it more exciting. So you start to fish. You start to, like fishermen that don't have a plan. Sailboaters start to pick targets so they can sail next to it. So it gives them something to do because it's so flippin' boring. It is so flippin' boring to sail. That's why they like to sail. That's only my theory. I'm sure it's not yours. I'm sure you're the best little sailor in the whole world and sailing isn't boring, and that's fine. I'm not arguing with you. I'm only telling you my opinion. All right? So that's my opinion of sailing. When building up a gear collection from scratch, what would be the first rod, reel, line, weight to invest in? Second rod, third, daily, overnight, head boats, private boats? Thanks, Rob from Maine. Rob, here's what I would do. If I can't cast, If I'm not very good at casting a conventional reel, I'm going to get me a really nice 3000 series, something like that, spinning reel, something that can handle 40, 50-pound fish and also can handle small fish so I can fly line baits. I can do all that. I'm going to get me a nice spinning rod setup. I'm going to get something affordable, something that's going to stand up and be durable. And you know me, I'm an Akuma guy, so I'm always going to suggest Akuma. I like the Avenger series. They work very, very well. You can see a whole video I have on YouTube about how the Avenger series reels work. But I'm going to get a nice spinning reel so that I can catch. And then my second one's going to be a conventional reel that I can learn on. So I want to make sure that I can catch when I go fishing. And if I'm not efficient at casting a conventional reel, that's the last thing I want to fish with until I learn how. So I'm going to get me a nice spinning rod and reel setup, PCH rod, nice Avenger series, or some type of decent spinning reel that's going to be able to stand up and catch what I'm trying to catch. And also, the third rod and reel maybe be something to troll with, something a little bit heavier to troll with. But you know what? If you're just getting started, you only really need two. Everywhere I go, I only bring two. And I know I'm new, but I only bring two. And I bring one extra reel. I'll put it in my bag in case one of the two reels that I brought quits working. But I only pretty much bring two rods, a 9-foot and an 8-foot rod, medium heavy and heavy. And then I'm not bringing a plethora. I don't understand that. First of all, I don't understand these guys that bring a tackle box that you have to use a forklift to lift to get on the boat. That never, ever, when I was running sport boats or private boats, that never made sense to me. I never understood it. And then bringing 15 rods, I never understood that either. And I went on a lot of fishing trips and been on a lot of stuff. Now, I'm not talking 15, 18-day long-range trip where I'm going to go fish cow tuna one day and big yellowtail the next day and spend my time trolling and doing all that. When I get on a sport boat, I'm going to use their trolling rods. Normally, they got 4 or 5 or 6 trolling rods. I'm not bringing my own trolling stuff because they're going to fish with the lures that have been working. They want to get the boat stopped if they're going to troll. You want to use what they're using. And they always have 5 or 6 trolling rods. They're not going to not have them on the sport boat. So why would you want to lug around a big giant rod and reel to go with on that trip? Now, if they're only biting flat falls and they're only biting the kite rod and all that stuff, they have that stuff on the boat. Get it from them. Don't go invest a whole bunch of money, thousands of dollars on a rod and reel setup that you might not ever use. And that bluefin could leave here tomorrow morning and never be seen again. And you're going to have thousands of dollars worth of rods and reels that you'll never use again. I'm just trying to help. But if you do have a bunch of money that you just want to spend and give away and stuff, grab as many rods as you can. I'm just telling you my opinion and what it works for me. So hopefully that helped. And you can always, Rob, you can call me up or talk to me offline, and I'll be more than happy to point you in the right direction on what you should and should not do. I don't want to offend anybody. Baloney, I don't even care. What am I saying? I don't care if I offend you. Don't watch me. It's real simple. Like I tell those booger eaters over there on Facebook, if you don't agree with why are you watching me? That just blows my mind. I come from the world of that if I didn't like, we'll change the channel. I didn't try to cancel them. I didn't go, how do I get a hold of KTTV and how do I get a hold of Bozo the Clown? And I want to tell him he shouldn't be on TV anymore because I don't agree with Bozo the Clown. What happened? You don't like what I do? You don't like who I am? Don't watch me. It's real simple. You don't need to try to cancel everybody. I don't know what that's all about. Just because I offend you, don't watch me. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. A lot of the boats will have setups for you to rent when you go on them. Almost every landing that fishes flat falls have flat fall outfits to rent. That's what I would do and go check it out, see if it's something that I like. And then if I think it's good, I would go out and buy one. How early should we get to Catalina to get a mooring on a holiday weekend? This is from my buddy Jack. Jack, the thing about Catalina on the holiday weekend is they get filled up quick on the bigger boat moorings. Smaller boat moorings, not so much. They can usually fit you in on Saturday morning, but bigger boats, you want to get over there on Friday night because the bigger boat dock moorings are going to go quick. But smaller boat moorings, you got a much better chance early in the morning on Saturday, and then I would say after 10 o'clock in the morning, you can pretty much forget about getting a mooring at Catalina because there's so many boats now. Everybody bought a boat the last couple, 3-4 years. Down here where I'm at in Cabo San Lucas, right now, from the Cabo San Lucas Marina all the way, if you look at a map, all the way up to Puerto Escondido, there's no docks available. It's pretty crazy. And the same thing's happening over there at a Catalina, man. There's so many boats and so many people. And every time the weather's nice, everybody's. Yeah, Dan, that was pretty good, huh? I didn't mean to slip that out, but that's what we used to call them. But everybody's using their boats and everybody's going to Catalina. So you're going to want to get there as early as you possibly can. And then, Jack, if you wanted to become part of a really cool deal up at the Isthmus, just give me a call later and I'll set you up with their phone number. It's the Institute up there, and you can become a member, give them a donation. And there's some pretty cool stuff to do up at the Isthmus. But if you just love being around a lot of people, like going to Disneyland when you go out boating, then you always want to go to Avalon because you're never, ever going to be starved for people on the weekend. The Isthmus and Cat Harbor are the places to go if you want to go to Catalina and really experience Catalina at its fullest. You go to the Isthmus or you go all the way around the backside of the island to Cat Harbor. Then you're really getting back to the days of how it used to be. You're not going to see a lot of people. You're going to get to see some buffalo. You're going to get to go eat a nice dinner at a really nice restaurant called The Reef. They got that Airbnb, or they got that bed and breakfast called the Banning House, which is one of the most spectacular places you could possibly stay on Catalina. If you wanted to see something really, really, really cool, stay at the Banning House, eat at the Reef restaurant. The cafeteria there is really good too. They have a lot of good food there. The Isthmus is the place, and the restaurant is really good, and the bar, and they have live music on Saturdays on the deck there. All right, back to Matt's got a question. What kind of rapalas do you like to troll when targeting bonita or anything else like that for the kids? And our game plan is going to talk about that. If you were to go look at my website on trolling lures, you're going to see a lot of the feathers and a lot of the rapalas and stuff that I troll with are going to match the size of the bait. Most of the stuff I troll with is about the length of your index finger, maybe a little bit longer, maybe your middle finger, something like that. You're going to look at those feathers. You're going to look at those rapalas. You're going to look at them, and you're going to see the length of them, that they match the sardine or the anchovy that their fish are feeding on. And then a big thing about that rapala is, Matt, a lot of the bills on the rapalas, they don't swim right. So you're going to have to put it out there behind the boat. You're going to have to slow down the troll. You're going to have to get down to like 4.5, 5 knots. And you're going to have to put it out behind the boat, and you have to watch it. If it's got a good bill, and every rapala is totally different, mega bait, mega bait, no, the X-Wraps, all those different bills, swimming, stick bait type of things, the bill is different on every single one of them. Even if there's 4 of them that are exactly the same color, you pull all 4 of them out, that bill is not the same on every one of them. You got to see how it swims behind your boat. If it's popping out of the water every couple of minutes and it's back there spinning, or it won't swim under the surface, that one's not going to work. And I know you spent a bunch of money on it, but it's really important to make sure that bill. That's why I'm not a big fan of the Rapala deals. I like to troll feathers and cedar plugs at Catalina or on the coast when I'm fishing for bonita. I like to fish feathers and cedar plugs, and the smaller cedar plug and the smaller feathers, because they resemble exactly what the fish is eating. The Rapala has a tendency, especially after you hook a couple fish, then it really starts swimming wrong. So all that matters, and you just want to see how it swims behind the boat and make sure that all those things are working together to enhance your ability to catch fish. Darren, I just got California Boater Card. Are they also checking those? According to the United States Coast Guard, absolutely, this year they're going to start to really go after the California boater card. And also, I was told the insurance companies, not this last year, but when you go to renew, and this could be totally wrong, but I was told when you go to renew your boat insurance next year, they're going to request to see a copy of your boater's card. So those, and they should, for God's sakes, you should have some type of a clue of what you're doing on the boat. So I was told they're going to request to see that boater card when you renew. And why wouldn't you want to have one? I don't understand. Oh, I know you've been doing this your whole life. Those of you that are ready to throw some negative up there. But that boater card's required by law. They said it. They told us that 8-9 years ago when they first put them out that they were going to start checking for them. Yeah, they haven't yet, but I was told this is the year they're going to start, and also that they're going to start really cracking down on the illegal charters. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of big names in the charter boat industry, which I just blows my mind. These guys with these big names are running illegal charters. Just blows my mind that they're still doing that today. But yeah, that California boaters card, Darren, is a big deal, and it's super important to make sure you have one because it could be the day. That's going to be an ugly ticket, and it's going to be very, very embarrassing for you and your wife or your kids when you're out there. It's going to be very, very, very embarrassing when they pull up and ask you if you have your card and you don't. If the tuna are 400 feet deep, they're probably not going to bite. Agree? Absolutely. That's what I say on my, if you're member of my website, I show the photometer, fish finder. I show when I was running and we were fishing that bluefin every single day, I never even got excited about the potential for them to bite until they got above 300 feet. When they got in that 300 to 150 foot range, I'm like, they're getting ready to come to the surface. They're getting ready. And once they get above, when you start marking them at 100 feet, it's game on. They're eating. It's game on. A lot of times, though, this year and last year, those guys fishing the night bites, they're fishing those Carnata jigs and the flat falls and the knife jigs and stuff. They're dropping them down 200 or 300 feet. I know some boats dropping them down 400, but that's not very often. That's a long, long ways to drop a bait or a lure down and hook a 200-pound tuna. Can you imagine hooking a 200-pound tuna 400 feet deep? So no, and if I do start to mark them, first of all, on your private boat, you should have your fish finding apparatus always, 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 always on manual range. You never want it to be on auto range because of the fact that you want to be in charge of what you're looking for. You do not want the machine to tell you to dictate what you're looking at. So let's just say the screen you're watching me on right now, the very top of the screen up here is 0, and the bottom of the screen down here is 300 feet. That's how you want to have it. That's how you want to have your fish finder set up, 0 to 300 when you're offshore, nothing deeper. You do not want that machine looking for anything deeper because nothing deeper matters. You're wasting your time. When you're fishing kelp patties and stuff and that thing's on auto, it's trying to find the bottom in 4,000 feet of water or 3,500 feet of water. There could be 200 yellowtail underneath that kelp patty and it's going to look like a speck of dust. But if you take that and turn it from 0 to 250 or 0 to 300, now that yellowtail is going to look like my hand on your screen. You got to remember, you do not want that fish finding apparatus to be range auto. Why do you guys have them on auto? Because you're scared to death of the machine. The guy that sold it to you and the installer that came down and put it on your boat, they don't know. I'm sorry, they don't. They couldn't possibly know how to use it because they don't spend their life using it. They know how to set it up so that you'll be happy and that you get to see the screen. And they're like, all right, I'm gone. You got to see it work in the harbor. I'm leaving. It's on auto in the harbor. That's going to work pretty damn good. But when you get offshore, that auto don't work for poop because it's trying to search for the bottom all the time in 3,000, 4,000 feet of water. You're going to miss every single fish in the ocean. From today forward, never, ever, 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 ever run your fish finding apparatus on auto. Always run it on manual. And if you don't know what I'm talking about or you don't know how to set it up, then that's even more of a reason to be a member of my website, because I'll never, ever let you fail. And I will answer all your questions. And I got videos on how to run your fish finding apparatus so you can catch stuff. So look at Kim and Dan. You mentioned chum bucket. Can I build one out of PVC like your lobster bait tubes and hang that off the bow? Yeah, you can absolutely do that. And then you can look at John Stanley. His wife, Tina, got him one of those food processors. And now the end of the day, the bait that he has left over, he takes it home and he puts it in the food processor and he grinds it all up and then he pours it into the bucket and he puts it in his freezer. If you have the ability to do that, Dan, then absolutely. And if you don't, then you got to buy one at the fuel dock or at the tackle store. But the key to that chum bucket is to freeze it. Get that chum rock solid frozen, then put it on the bow like you said and I said, tie it up there, and then let it just trickle that bait out throughout the day. And the number one thing about a chum bucket that we always forget, and I've done it 100 times, you got to try to remember to pull it out of the water when you go to leave. Oh my God, I can't even tell you how many I lost because I forgot to pull it out. But yeah, like Cue Ball said, the slow melt is very, very good for it, because as it slowly melts, it's oozing off that stuff behind the boat and it's making it really, really cool. Gang, we're going to go over a couple of things real quick. Don't forget that Anchor Roasted Coffee, our Roasted Anchor Coffee, is having that contest. All you have to do is enter their store. Tomorrow, we're going to give away the prize package. Tomorrow's Roasted Anchor Coffee Company Day, Thursdays. But go to that QR code right there and go enter the store right now. You don't have to purchase anything. By entering the store, it's going to enter you into the contest to win the free bag of. They're going to give away a bag of coffee, and we're going to give away a Your Saltwater Guide t-shirt to one lucky person by visiting the store. Just grab your phone right now, hit the QR code, go over there, visit their store. Elliot can track that you visited the store, and we're going to give one lucky person a bag of coffee and a t-shirt. We're going to give that away tomorrow on the show, first thing. Kelly Girl's going to be on the show with me tomorrow. She's going to do something crazy. She's going to interview me for all of you. Kelly's going to ask some questions. I told her I'll answer every question she asks, so you might want to tune in. That could be very interesting. God only knows what she's going to want to know. So tune in. And Dave Burris, hopefully she doesn't ask me anything about what we did in the 80s. That's all I could say. But or the 70s for that matter. But go visit Roasted Anchor Coffee Company right now. Go over there and visit the coffee company. That's going to enter you into the contest, and we're going to give away that bag of coffee and the t-shirt tomorrow. And then don't forget, Pro Mars contest ends tomorrow also. Go over to their store, enter their store. No purchase necessary for either one of these things. You just enter the store. That's going to get you in the contest to win the bag of swag that Pro Mars giving away tomorrow. Some rock cod squirts, a t-shirt, a hat, and probably a live deception flash lure. If I know Steve, he loves to show everybody those. So go over there, grab that QR code right now from Promar, go visit their store. The only way you can qualify for these two giveaways is to enter through the QR code that I flashed up. Take a picture of it real quick because I'm going to put the Roasted Anchor Coffee Company back up. So grab that QR code. I don't see anybody getting it. Don't be afraid. Nothing bad's going to happen, except you might win. How cool would that be to win? All right. Don't be afraid. There's the Roasted Anchor Coffee Company. It's going to be a cool giveaway. Grab that QR code and let's see what else we got here. We got any more questions? We got any more things? Anybody want to know anything? Anybody need any? I'm going to jump out of here and end the show. We've been going for an hour. If you have a burning desire to ask me a question, right now is it. This is it. It's the end. You wanted me to answer your questions, let me know right now. I want to thank everybody for all the support for my website, for my social media platforms, for everything you do for us, for all the stars you've given us All of you that have sprinkled stars across my live shows day in and day out, thank you so much. Mike Lewis, for all your support. Dave Burris, Kim and Dan, Jack, Darren. I can go through this list. Alfie, Augie, oh, that booger eating Justin Botrell. Oh my gosh, we could just keep going. Frank and Ed and Kevin and oh my gosh. I'm sorry, everybody. I could go on and on and on for another hour just thanking everybody. Those of you that I didn't cover in the thanking, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. You all mean a lot to me. I will answer your phone if you call me. If you want a free look at my website, don't be afraid to call me. I'll open it up for you. You can check it out. You make your own decision if you want to spend the price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks on some bitching information. Or you can keep going out there and trying to figure it out on your own. I do not care. I do not care. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. All right. So thank you, everybody.